and a hand came through the ring,
The Fiend,
grabbed Randy Orton by the leg. You then
what's good? Dark Knight Gang and it's Stack Gang. Bro, I told y'all. You know I'm... Come on. You know I'm going to do the ups and downs. Ups and downs, WWE Fastlane 2021. Shout out to you guys for not even telling me the results. Finally, no one told me the results. So I'm excited to see what happened. I'm excited to see who won the different championships, the different matches. Bro... Let's hop into this. You already know I mess with What Culture Wrestling heavy. Shout out to Simon. Shout out to What Culture Wrestling. Thank you guys so much for keeping me up to date with these ups and downs. Because man, I don't look at the pay-per-views. But I'm ready to watch this, man. We're going to watch this together. We're going to see what's up. I'm low-key excited. I'm low-key... I can't even... Man, let's just watch, cuz. Let's go.
we are only a few weeks away from WrestleMania, but so much is flipping happening. I mean, Andrade asked for his release from WWE.
WrestleMania is coming.
And they said yes. Edge has gone along with his flip.
You guys did tell me about Andrade leaving as well, so I guess you guys did tell me some stuff, but anyway.
Daniel Bryan continues to prove that he's probably one of the best wrestlers ever. By the time we get to the Showcase of the Immortals, I'm probably going to have to sleep because I'm an old man and then I won't even know what happens. That's not true at all. I will watch every single event that WWE is putting out over those 7 days, more like 10 days, and there is a hell of a lot. But finally, we are officially on the road to WrestleMania.
Your fingers, bro.
Fastlane is out the way. But was it a good
Probably
show or was it a bad show? And we figure it out by taking this, the finger of power, and by giving the good bits are up and the bad bits are down. So let's just up those downs.
Let's go.
WWE Fastlane.
So, you guys know this video is already extremely long, so I'm not going to pause it to talk. I'm going to just... I'll pause it sometimes. Because I really want to see what happened. Never mind. Let's just watch it.
I am hoping that we just saw a pre-show on a WWE pay-per-view that had a significant event. Because it was Riddle versus Mustafa Ali for the US title.
He didn't lose though, right?
We just made a rematch, but we didn't tell you on Raw, because we want you to follow our social media, and if you don't, well, flub you. They had a really fun contest, though, that Riddle did win after he hit the Bro Derek from the second rope. But it was the fallout that made the headlines, because Mustafa Ali was all like, oh, you're all right.
I told you guys.
When all of a sudden his team, known as Retribution, not only turned their back on him, but they gave him a double choke slam.
I told you they was going to break up. I saw it happening. About time.
Eyebrow, given that this group was disbanded on the pre-show. Remember a couple of things. One, WWE could just have dropped it in the toilet and then pretended that you never even saw it, much like Raw Underground. I mean, what the hell's going on with that?
Oh, shit. What did happen with that?
Everybody in Retribution... We just have to hold our hands up in the air and say, it didn't work. I mean, the most devastating thing they did was flick the lights on and off. We then got into the meat and bones as Fastlane kicked off properly. And our first match was Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax defending their tag team championships against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Also,
you already know I'm going for Crip Gang
back on this show, so
and
I guess
BB.
he just did go to a spa. He was positively glowing. And look, this was a decent match too. I actually think all four of them have really good chemistry. But the issue is that you have exactly the same story on either side of the ring. Like Nia and Shayna can't get on because they hate each other. Sasha and Bianca can't get on because they hate each other. Michael Cole and Corey Graves can't get on with each other because they hate each other. Me and my hair can't get on with each other because we hate each other. It's just the same damn thing. Like in WWE, you only form teams in order to break them up. We did get to see one of the best hot tags in ages after Bianca Belair had been beaten up for ages. She kind of flipped and flopped her way over to Sasha Banks and hit the hot tag. And then when she was back in, she busted out a 450. And if we are not going to make Bianca Belair champion,
what the fuck is a 450?
Crazy. At this stage, I was more than 1/2. But then Reggie hopped up on the apron and I audibly went, well, here we go. Because it did cause somewhat of a distraction, but Sasha was still able to lock the bank statement.
Okay, I was about to say, better not be a surprise roll-up. I'm about to cuss.
Pushed Bianca and broke this up, which meant, of course, as soon as Sasha was back on her feet, she was like, Bianca Belair, you absolute moron. And Bianca Belair was like, it wasn't my fault, it was Nia Jax. But even though Stevie Wonder could have seen this, nobody believed the other one. So Shayna Baszler used the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. And she got the 1, 2, 3. So this is just the stupid to what is going to be a fire match at Mania.
Tired of that.
Sasha and Bianca keep losing. We established afterwards that Sasha is definitely going to be the heel for their singles match because she slapped the eyelashes off Bianca Belair. And I mean that literally, one went foof.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, oh shit, I'm gonna start saying that. But he said that literally happened.
Really
That's funny.
She was still able to look at the WrestleMania sign like, oh, WrestleMania. Because if you don't do that, you just die. You just don't need any of this
I'm going Bianca Belair, though.
Wrestlers that we do have in here. And also, as I always go on, I know it's boring, I'm like a broken record. If you had separated the championships, you could have worked in Bayley, you could have worked in Ruby Riott, you could have worked in Liv Morgan. I mean, where the hell was Mina than Tamina? Where the hell was Natalya? There's a bunch of people. We could do this all day. And because of that, it's got to get it down. We then actually learned we were watching Raw. And who knew? Because Shane McMahon was shown in the back. And he's gone and injured himself during his warm-up that happened earlier in the night. Handily, he was also approached by Elias and Jackson Riker, who were desperate to do a big performance at the Show of Shows. Shane McMahon had a better idea. And if you haven't figured out that Elias was going to be his replacement, then bless you, I envy your innocence. McMahon was also wearing a Braun Strowman t-shirt, but he covered up one of the words, so it said stupid or Stupid Express. And I was like, man, how long did you take to come up with that? Like 32 seconds? More effort was put into the creation of Poochie. Big E versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship was next, and they Dave Bautista'd me because they get
Apollo Crews, let's get it.
What I want. We kind of had to go a weird way to get there, but I don't care. Up. Now, firstly, they just whipped each other's ass. I mean, as soon as the bell went, they went at each other like two balls.
Yeah, I'm sure this was a great match. There's some great wrestlers. They're both really good.
Apollo Crews, as he was on the apron, as he has promised us.
Especially Apollo Crews being extremely athletic.
Royalty. It changed when he went for another splash in the corner, but Apollo got out of the way. But then he was just busting out multiple German suplexes.
To Big E, huh? Big E is
a very big man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Who was in the name? They were then trading moves because Apollo Crews went for a powerbomb, but Big E was able to slip out the back and get out of that, and then he went for the big ending, and Apollo kind of did the same. And we were building some momentum here, but then, yes, we did get to a very strange finish. Because Big E went for the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, but Apollo reversed it. But then Big E reversed it on him and kind of just like thrusted his hips forward, as he would be wont to do. And he got the 1, 2, 3, but it was a very confused 1, 2, 3, and even Corey Graves went, I don't really know what happened. Now that is never a good sign, and afterwards Apollo did get
Big E won
7,522 angle slams, but this is why I was fine with it. If you go back and watch my prediction video for this very pay-per-view, I actually said if WWE wants to do some shenanigans here, so we can just get through Fastlane and put Big E versus Apollo Crews for this championship on WrestleMania, I'm going to be fine with it, because two guys who have been this good need to do their business there. It's why this stupid event has been a problem since the beginning.
My Nigerian brother.
Doing stuff.
I'm 25% Nigerian, by the way.
2 weeks later, and that always sucks away some of the allure. Still, we are doing that, and when they were just punching each other in the face, it was fine. And you just know they were holding something back for all the reasons I just said. But yes, you know, you have to call a spade a spade. It was a really strange ending. 24/7.
Okay, so they're going to go at it again at WrestleMania. That'll be something to look out for. That's a good one. Like I said, Big E and Apollo Crews, I really like both of them. So
Title Madness next, and I've said it before.
I'm going for Apollo Crews though. Since Big E won on Fastlane, they should let Apollo Crews win WrestleMania. But we'll see.
I'm genuinely happy for you. I don't want you to turn into your entertainment program and not be entertained. I just think we really got to kill it off. Down. I also just want R-Truth to be involved in a proper story, because now the 24/7 championship has been a gateway into commercials. And I suppose that's fine. WWE got to make their cash, but that is literally what we did. Because we had a new champion.
Yeah, it looked like an Old Spice commercial,
Joseph Average, who in this context was the Old Spice guy. That's right. He was trying to sell Tozawa some Old Spice, like, man, you're going to smell so good, when R-Truth appeared through the Old Spice, and Joe Average just rolled him up and got the pin. R-Truth didn't like that,
so he then rolled him up, and he got
his championship back, all the while going, oh my gosh, you smell like a bow of flowers. What was really weird, though, is that Mr. Average was also Eric Bugenhagen from NXT, and you weren't meant to know it was him. So I kind of just started staring off into space. Like
it's just comedic relief. I'm not, like, you know what I'm saying? They like to throw in little funny things here and there. I'm not mad.
My head exploded.
It's fine.
I had to go to a cloning factory, so this is the second version of me. But the big point is, I just don't get it. But if you did go out and buy some Old Spice after this, I suppose it worked. Shane McMahon then screwed over Elias because of course he did, and we were reminded one more time that we were just using Fastlane to build matches to WrestleMania. What flipping world we living in? Down. McMahon invited Elias out to do a special contest, bling ding ding, and then before he could do anything said, I'm only kidding, Elias. You are actually my replacement. Good luck, because here comes Braun. We heard, whoa, and out came this crazy anger management nightmare, and he didn't seem to care about this at all. Even though he has been melting down on television week after week, now he's like, all right, fine. So he absolutely ruined Elias. He absolutely ruined Jackson Riker, who was at ringside. I mean, this was a bona fide squash. In fact, he destroyed them so badly, if you rang the police, they would actually look into it.
All right, I'm glad that Braun looked like a beast.
1, 2, 3. And he
but now he's just a stupid beast, huh?
Went and did his weeding because he's still dressed like a gardener. So really, it was never going to be Shane versus the Monster here. It was all one big ruse. Because why the hell would they do that anywhere
before WrestleMania?
No, I've said it enough.
Yeah, it makes sense. I feel you.
We then made sure to make Riddle more of an idiot than he has been up to date. Because he bumped into Shinsuke Nakamura backstage here. And he was just going on and on about scooters and them going to a party or something. And Shinsuke got so bored with this, he just went and hid behind a locker, and then Riddle kind of popped up and went, oh, where did he go? I guess he's listened to me, and he's actually gone to buy a scooter. As ever, surely this character can't stand the test of time, but worse than that, I always laugh. I always chuckle away in spite of myself.
I mean, I thought Matt Riddle had that persona anyway. Like the weed head, you know what I mean? That's why I called him the weed head, homie.
Nothing was as good as Seth Rollins' dress game that we saw during the pre-show. So as always, let's recap. Because week 1 he was tears, week 2 he was a rug, week 3 he was a cloud, week 4 he was some lips, week 5 he was a country garden, week 6 he was a felt tip pen, and then on this evening he was literally dressed in a suit that looked like camouflage. This is just the best drip I have ever seen in my life, and I am absolutely in love with the Seth Rollins character just because of his stupid suits. Seth also started this by firing off with these giant knees and backbreakers that are really good, and he's kind of melting down here because he was just shouting into the abyss, I can't believe Cesaro gave me the big swing. So he tried to give Shinsuke Nakamura the big swing, and of course that failed, and Seth needs to keep shouting stupid stuff, because when he was in the ring during his entrance, they showed the video of how this match got set up, and Shinsuke Nakamura whooping his ass, and he was like, we don't need to see that, who saw that? I'm really enjoying this transformation. Nakamura reversed this into
Seth Rollins is still my top, bro. I really like Seth Rollins.
And he just ran at Seth in the corner and hit him with this massive knee for a near fall. And it just makes you say, my word, Nakamura is so good. He ended up on the outside eventually, so of course Seth Rollins dove at him. Because you have to have at least one dive on every wrestling show, otherwise the sky's open and aliens are allowed to attack. They were then both dodging each other's finishing moves, and while we do this a lot, I get a kick out of it every time, because it's like watching two guys that are really good at WWE 2K. Unfortunately for Shinsuke Nakamura, in this sense, he ran out of meter before Rollins. Rollins was then able to kick him in the back of the head. He then followed it up with the curb stomp. And of course he got the 1, 2, 3, because again, what are we building to? That's right, WrestleMania, where Seth will take on Cesaro. This was really fun stuff though, and before we did get to the finish, Seth did this weird thing where he kind of went to hit Shinsuke, but Shinsuke got out of the way, so he kind of hooked his knee on him and then hit him. You need to see it. It was a little bit like watching Tetris up. We also got to confirm that Rhea Ripley is going to be debuting on Raw this evening, and thank Flub for that. Here's what we need to do. We need to work for a program against Asuka. Then we need to do Asuka versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, and Rhea Ripley needs to be the champion. Something against Asuka. I think the Empress of Tomorrow is one of the best wrestlers in the world.
I think so too.
Let's not muck around here, people, and let's turn Rhea Ripley into a star.
Let's do it.
And
you know I love Rhea Ripley.
Tried to kill each other for the 3rd week in a row. If you have no interest in watching it, just go to social media and look at the welts and the bruises on their entire body. These two are absolutely crazy.
So those going crazy.
In the weekend, it basically become a no-holds-barred match, even though I'm pretty sure their last match was a no-holds-barred match. But if you're going to do it this way, I don't even care. Because they were out on the floor before you could even say fella, and they were chucking each other into the ring post, they were chucking each other into the barricade, then they introduced a kendo stick, and this was just the tip of the flippin' iceberg. As they got back in the ring, Sheamus hit Drew with this crazy knee. I'm surprised he didn't lose a tooth like Asuka did a few weeks ago. And then they got that kendo stick, and they were just hitting each other so hard, I was sat on my sofa going, like I was being attacked because I have serious problems. This also upset McIntyre so much, he took the stick and he rammed it into Sheamus's eye. And really, we have to go and hold Seth Rollins accountable here. He has introduced this crazy obsession with vision.
Right when he did that to Rey Mysterio.
To remove eyes from their sockets. Because at this point, you could see all the marks forming over their body. And then they went like, oh, we're bored of the ring. Let's go to the Thunderdome screens, where Drew grabbed Sheamus and chucked him into some of them. And of course, they went... and they exploded. So that's officially attempted murder, but then Sheamus was back on his feet and he poked Drew McIntyre right in the eye before he then kicked him over the barricade, and then he hit a white noise through the announce table. And if you had told me, well, sorry, that's the end for these two, I'd be like, yeah, I understand why. Sheamus was also screaming the whole time, fella, it was me that should be at WrestleMania, because I cannot do an Irish accent. And because he had like a piece of the table left, he thought, our Alabama Slam drew into that, but it did not go well. He got Future Shock DDT'd into it instead. Then Drew followed up with the stiffest Claymore kick you've ever seen in your life. He just kicked his friend right in the jaw, but it did allow him to get a 1-2-3.
Okay.
And these two dudes just have incredible, brilliant, awesome wrestling matches. So Drew was the...
They both some beasts too. Every time they wrestle is fire. You know what I'm saying? Drew McIntyre winning, I'm not mad at it. I'm not upset at all. I just need to see what's going to happen with Bobby Lashley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but was he? Really? I think Pain was the victor, which makes me sound like Bane. Remember that from the Dark Knight trilogy? Oh, Pain was the victor. Sounded more like Kermit the Frog. I loved all of that, though, almost as much as I loved what came next, because it was just pure WWE. You go from this serious brawl into the most silly thing you could ever imagine in your entire life. But yes, it was Randy Orton versus Alexa Bliss, and what a sentence that is. Now, you could just tell this was going to be the return of The Fiend.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know The Fiend coming back. Don't play, nigga.
Look, fair play to WWE for sticking with this story. This has actually been a long-term thing.
Yeah.
We've already discussed Raw Underground.
Did he start bleeding from his mouth again?
He didn't go in that direction.
Right,
as soon as Orton did get in the ring, though, and was doing his pose, he started to cough up the black goo again. But he's learned, because he is a very experienced wrestler, so this time he had a towel, and he kind of wiped himself off, and he was like, Alexa Bliss, you get on out here. As she did this too, she set the ring on fire, because of course she did, and as soon as the bell rang, Randy Orton just charged her, like he was going to take her head off. He went into the ring post, and Alexa Bliss was just going, then she walked around ringside going, and I was like, this is really strange. She then used her magic to make a lighting rig fall from the ceiling, which almost crushed Randy Orton. And as he rightfully said, why are you trying to kill me? I should have had an attempted murder counter on this show.
Okay.
And then she threw another fireball at Randy Orton's head, and I was quite enjoying it this time.
Yeah, this sounds tight.
Like real life Street Fighter. This was doubly true because apparently Orton blocked the fireball, which means he must have been holding the right direction on his D-pad, because as we know in the real world, you can't block a fireball. Anywho, eventually a bunch of spooky noises started to play. It sounded like someone
right direction. When you hold back to block, you stupid.
And a hand came through the ring, grabbed Randy Orton by the leg. You then had one of the worst edits you've ever seen, and as there was more fire, who was standing in the square circle? None other than Doink, after he's had a really bad day. Or it looked a bit like Skeletor from He-Man and the Master Universe. I'm sure you could come up with your own, but basically, the new Fiend is quite literally
that thing is disgusting.
He has all like the melted face, he's got like charcoal clothes, and I understand what WWE was going for.
Okay.
And I do appreciate the effort. I'm just a bad human being. And start to laugh. It does make more sense now, though, because we had just seen Randy Orton block fire, and now we know The Fiend can do that too, so if you're just in the company, you are able to block the flames.
These niggas are firebenders and shit.
Randy was terrified, but Alexa pushed him into The Fiend, who gave him the Sister Abigail, and then, if you can believe it, Alexa Bliss pinned Randy Orton for the 1-2-3. So I just have a few questions, right? One, I don't think this was a no DQ match. So why the referee didn't disqualify Alexa Bliss and The Fiend, I have no idea. But also, two, imagine this. If the fictional wrestling record book is real, and let's pretend that it is, one day
Randy Orton gotta say he lost to Alexa Bliss.
And you'll get to 2021 and it will just say, Alexa Bliss pinned Randy Orton, and you will have a million questions. I do want to say fair play to Randy Orton, though, because he has taken everything that WWE has given, and he has done the best job possible with it. I bet there'd be plenty of wrestlers.
I really like this storyline
I'm
though.
not doing that. Randy's like, I don't give a crap. I don't give a flub. I'll do whatever the hell you want. Unfortunately though, as creative as this was, and how I do enjoy the change of pace, it's just not for me. It's too ridiculous, and I like ridiculous to a certain extent. So for that very
You don't
reason,
like it?
gotta get it down. I don't hate it though.
Even how you described it, bro, it sounds like it's cool. I like how WWE is trying to switch up things and have these crazy storylines. I like how they trying to be a little bit more like out there with it and a little bit more creative. I like it, bro.
I respect the fact they're trying to be inventive. It just doesn't float my boat at all.
Oh.
This new version of The Fiend.
Come on, bro.
I'm going to laugh every time.
You gotta be
What did
okay
float
with
my
the new
boat,
stuff.
however,
But all right,
was
come
the
on.
main event and just the sheer genius pro wrestler known as Daniel Bryan. Also, though, too, DB and Roman Reigns just have ludicrously good chemistry. It was the same at Fastlane in
I just need to know who
2015.
won,
It may be
cuz.
even better now. I probably could see them wrestle for like 2 weeks straight, and I'd never get bored. Bryan went from the armbar straight away, but Roman fought him off because secretly he is terrified of tapping out. And even though he was trying to get the upper hand, he wasn't able to because Daniel Bryan was like, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work over your arm, I'm going to work over your shoulder, and then you're going to tap out or you're going to die. And they aren't my words, Roman Reigns, they are yours. But of course, Roman Reigns, you're our tribal chief. Reigns stopped all of this with like the coolest spinning side slam backbreaker thing you've ever seen in your life. And then he remembered that Edge was at ringside, who was the special enforcer, so he just started looking at him. That was a bit like, good point, Edge. No wonder he is looking at you. So far, apparently, your job is just to stand outside and be an observer. Special enforcer, my ass. Given that Reigns was the bigger guy, of course, he had to run at Daniel Bryan before smashing into the post because Bryan got out of the way. And then as Daniel Bryan went for a hurricane run off the top rope, Roman Reigns turned it into a Boston Crab. At this point, I was like, you know what? I am having a good time. Bryan then started to use more high-flying stuff as Roman was like, I'm a power guy, so I'm going to be powerful. But as he went for a powerbomb, Daniel Bryan then turned that into the Hurricane Rana for a near fall. And again, I was just jumping around because nobody is better. Even in a match where you're convinced that you know the result, nobody is better than Daniel Bryan at making you go, wait a minute, I'm starting to believe. Daniel then stomped
Daniel
on
Bryan's a
Roman's
really good
face for
wrestler,
while,
that's why.
because why the hell
Alright, hold
not? Before we got to shenanigans. Because he was going to follow up with a running knee, but the referee, like the doofus he was, had positioned himself right behind Roman, so of course when he went for it, and the head of the table got out of the way, it was bye-bye official, he got knocked out. Straight
And
away,
this shit
though,
got
Roman
crazy,
Reigns
huh?
then busted out the spear, and he had Daniel Bryan pinned for the 1-2-3.
But the
At
ref
this
is
stage,
knocked
finally,
out.
the rated R superstar went, oh, I can do this. So he ran in the ring, but he only got 2. That sent the tribal chief nuts, so he started arguing with Edge. But then Daniel Bryan was back and he locked Roman Reigns in the S-lock. Then Jey Uso, crazy Jey Uso.
What the
he
fuck
was
this
here to
nigga come
start
from?
super kicking everyone. And understand that some are saying it was overbooked, but who the hell cares? It's like a roller coaster. Uso launched Edge into the ring post and then got a chair.
Okay.
But because he is Jey Uso, he's not allowed to get anything. So instead, Daniel Bryan cut him off. He picked up the steal and he started to whoop Jey Uso's ass. This also allowed Daniel's darker side to take over though, because he then realised, well, all the referees are down. This is my chance to not only become the Universal Champion, but go to WrestleMania. So he was going to twonk Roman with it. But instead he hit Edge. This then got even more nuts because Roman charged at Daniel Bryan. He applied the yes lock once more, and if you can believe it, and you should do because it happened,
Roman tapped?
Roman actually tapped out. No, it was a
But
very
no-
big tap
no
out.
ref was
Again, I
there.
chuckling away a little bit.
No
but
ref.
he did it, which goes to prove he is a stinking liar. But of course, once again, there was no one to see this, so
Yeah.
the match didn't end, and it all came down to stupid Edge, because he couldn't handle any of this, because he feels like people are trying to usurp him. So he got the chair, and he beat up everyone, including Daniel Bryan. He started screaming like, people are trying to take my WrestleMania moment away from me, before he stormed up the rampway like he was going to get a gun and tell the kids to get off his lawn. But then back in the squared circle, Roman Reigns crawled over to Daniel Bryan, he draped him arm over him, and he got the flipping victory. It has been made very
match
clear
seemed
afterwards
fire,
at
bro.
WrestleMania. It is going to be Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship.
Oh, it's a
That makes
three-way
me
match?
Very happy because I predicted that on the prediction.
I thought if Roman Reigns beat Daniel Bryan, it would just be Roman Reigns versus Edge. And I thought if Daniel Bryan wins, it'll be Daniel Bryan versus Edge. Whatever.
Show what a bald asshole I am. But I'm alright with that. I truly am. You can add Daniel Bryan to everything and it will get better, even your relationship. Whatever your relationship
This
is,
dude.
if Daniel Bryan is in it, I promise
This
you it
dude.
would be better. I know there's some cynical cats out there going, well, he's only in it, so Edge can pin him or he can take the loss. Who cares? So what? If
I didn't even think about that.
Is as fire as this? Well, give it to me every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So it was an absolutely terrific end to Fastlane, which really was a...
Fastlane seemed cool, but like he said, you could tell everything built up to WrestleMania. Almost every single match was a build up to WrestleMania. WrestleMania about to be absolutely fire. I might actually just buy the pay-per-view. Why not? Why not? It sounds fire. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, check. That's going to be fire. Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, and Edge, check. That's going to be fire. Apollo Crews and Big E going at it again, check. That's going to be fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? WrestleMania about to be absolutely fire, bro. What he said, I didn't even think about that. I can see that happening. Edge is not going to get pinned. Roman Reigns is not going to get pinned. One of them is going to pin Daniel Bryan. And that's who's going to be the title. That's who's going to win the title. It makes sense. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, he's completely right. Anyway, great video. See y'all next time. Shout out to the gang. Top 10 Raw moments. I'll do that tomorrow. I know Raw came on yesterday, so I'll do the top 10 moments tomorrow. See y'all tomorrow, bro. Peace.